will welcome our audience once
Yes.
again to this very special Independence Day Upanishad with Guruji and Dr. Pariksith Singh. I'm happy to moderate this session, and both of us are joining you from Jaipur, which is Dr. Saab's hometown, but also the Pink City. And as you can see, all of us are dressed in matching colors, also to celebrate India's Independence Day, which, by way of introduction to our theme, which is Sanatana Dharma and India's independence, I might also remind our audience that it is also Sri Aurobindo's birthday. And therefore, those who are inspired by his great vision and philosophy, it is for them Darshan Day. Now, the reason I brought in Sri Aurobindo is also because the theme of today's Upanishad is also inspired by Sri Aurobindo. On the 30th of May in 1909, he delivered an extraordinary speech called the Uttarpada speech. When he was released from jail, he was in the Alipur bomb conspiracy case. He was in jail for 1 year. And when he was released, he delivered the speech where I invite everyone, of course, to read or go through the speech at their own convenience. But he said that the real inner purpose of India's independence was to spread the light of Sanatana Dharma all over the world. So this was an extraordinary declaration of independence in terms of dharma, and not just political independence and freedom from British colonialism. And then in his 5 dreams for India, just on the eve of India's independence in 1947, he delivered another lecture where one of his dreams was the spreading of Indian wisdom and spirituality all over the world, and also the next step in the evolution of humankind. So in that light, I want to start. First, I'll ask Dr. Singh this question. And then, of course, I will ask Guruji, how do you understand Sanatana Dharma in today's context? And how is it related to India's independence?
So I was reading something very interesting, actually a critique of Rig Veda by Swami Dayananda Saraswati. And he said, what is unique about us is we don't just look at the world. We look at something that is also upholding the world and behind the world. And he calls that the Sanatana, that is the Atman. So behind all this that we are seeing, normal Western minds or normal external minds are totally involved with this. This is it. He says the genius of our great rishis, because we found something else that was not obvious to the senses. And he says the best way to describe it is it experiences the world through our senses, through our eyes, through our ears, through us. And that is what Sanatana is about us. And so whatever leads us to that, whatever is leading us is Sanatana Dharma.
That is beautiful. Guruji, please give us your vision and insight into this, and then we will try to connect it with India's independence.
As he rightly said, we are looking for that which can be realized only after we transcend all conditioning. So that eternal one we always are. Only hindrance is the senses we perceive through. So if we transcend that through, there is a yoga sadhana, every seer who attained to that eternity, they took different paths but reached to the same reality. Attained it. That is, as we mentioned, Sri Aurobindo, he says it integral yoga. Some others say in some other way, but it is always yoga. That means you realize your union, which is always there, only because wheel is there, which we call malavichep avaran. So we can't see in the sense of unseeing the unseen. Once that is realized, that we find it is eternal, it is here and now. This thing is same, we use different words, different ways to attain it, but thing is same, that there is something beyond the obvious, and that is always there, and we are that, not this which we are appearing to be. So it is correct only to say, but how to reach there? In every time frame, every yuga, there is a little difference creeps in. So Krishna comes and he unveils that wheel. Aurobindo comes, he unveils that wheel. Likewise, in the current times also, somebody or the other might be doing that. But that is always there, and that is how it goes on.
जी, हम कुछ हमारी बात हिंदी में भी करेंगे
जी
ताकि उत्तर भारतीय लोगों को भी इसमें थोड़ा सा आनंद आए। तो आप दोनों ने ये कहा था कि वही सनातन है जो शाश्वत है और जो हमारी सारी जो इंद्रियां हैं उसके परे हैं। लेकिन ये इतनी भिन्नता जो हमें दिखती हैं उसके पीछे सिर्फ एक व्यापक चेतना है और उसको समझना, उसकी ओर जाना ही जीवन का लक्ष्य है। ये आप दोनों ने कहा। लेकिन अब मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ, इसका भारत और भारत के स्वतंत्रता से इसका क्या संबंध हो सकता है?
गुरुजी कर, गुरुजी से।
अच्छा गुरुजी, आप पहले बताएं, हम थोड़ा क्रम बदल रहे हैं, बात एक ही
हाँ
है।
नहीं, ठीक ठीक। तो आप अगर हम स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन में देखें तो गांधी जी की बड़ी भूमिका है। क्यों है? क्योंकि उन्होंने इसको लोकव्यापी बनाया। बाकी सब ने काम किया, सुभाष चंद्र बोस ने अपने ढंग से काम किया, अन्य सारे, आजाद ने अपने ढंग से, भगत सिंह ने अपने ढंग से, अरविंदो ने अपने ढंग से, अनंत नाम है, तिलक ने अपने ढंग से। लेकिन गांधी जी का नाम इसलिए लिया जाता है कि उन्होंने उसको लोकव्यापी बनाया। तो गांधी जी की प्रेरणा कहाँ से आती है? जब वो नॉन वायलेंस की बात करते हैं, सत्य की बात करते हैं, तो हमने कहा ही है, और हमने क्या कहा, ये तो सबकी अनुभूति है जो भी ऋषि हुए, कि सत्य तो भिन्न भिन्न होते हैं, छोटे छोटे सत्य, लेकिन परम सत्य तभी सत्य होता है जब वो सनातन हो। तो सत्य का परम सत्य होना, उसका सनातन होना ही उसकी कसौटी है। तो किसी को भी जब परम सत्ता के निकट भी वो अगर जाता है, परम सत्य के, तो शांति की अनुभूति पहले होती है। तो शांति से अहिंसा आती है, और तो इसलिए सत्य और अहिंसा जुड़े हुए हैं। तो गांधी ने उनको अपना हथियार बनाया, टूल्स बनाया स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन में। तो उससे स्पष्ट है कि प्रेरणा तो सनातन से ही आई, तो सनातन से ही जुड़े हुए हैं। तिलक ने भी गीता रहस्य लिखा, गीता पे गहन अध्ययन किया, और वो भी स्वराज पे आए। वही अरविंदो जी ने भी वही किया, उन्होंने भी स्वराज की बहुत गहन व्याख्या की। तो सबको वो स्वा, जो गीता का स्वा है कृष्ण का, जिस जो सनातन है, उसी की चर्चा सब करते हैं, उसी पे आश्रित होना पड़ा। क्योंकि जो भी गहराई में जाएगा, वो जो अभी हम चर्चा कर चुके हैं पहले प्रश्न में, कि वो जो इस सबके परे है, उसके करीब आते आते ही ये सारे गुण हमें आने लगते हैं, दृष्टि खुलने लगती है। तो जो अगर वहां पहुंच गए तो उनकी तो पूरी खुल जाती है। तो स्वतंत्रता की जब हम बात करते हैं, तो कोई भी जो परम सत्ता है वो परम स्वतंत्र भी है। इसलिए हमारे यहाँ मोक्ष को अंतिम लक्ष्य रखा गया धर्म में, क्योंकि वो है, हमने कोई बनाया नहीं है उसको। और मोक्ष को हम परिभाषित करें तो धीरे धीरे टुकड़ों में ऐसे ही परिभाषित होता है कि स्वतंत्रता, फिर स्वाधीनता, फिर मुक्ति, और फिर मोक्ष। तो ये क्या है? ये पॉलिटिकल लेवल पे जो हमें कुछ करने की, अपने ढंग से जीने की जो हम आजादी चाहते हैं, वो स्वतंत्रता कही गई। तो ये राजनीतिक आजादी परिभाषित तो वहीं से होती है, मोक्ष से ही। लेकिन जैसे कहा जाता है ना कि जो ऊपर होता है वो कुछ एब्सोल्यूट सा होता जाता है। क्या अभी हम कनेक्टेड है? तो जो ऊपर होता है वो कुछ एब्सोल्यूट जैसा होता जाता है। परिभाषाएं, संवाद थोड़ा नीचे आके ही संभव हो पाते हैं। तो इसलिए हम कहें कि अध्यात्म सबसे ऊपर है, तो वो अनुभूति का विषय हो जाता है। लेकिन जैसे ही धर्म कहते हैं तो व्यवहार में आ जाता है, और जब राजनीति कहते हैं तो पूरा प्रैक्टिकल हो जाता है। तो सबसे ज्यादा पावरफुल, जैसे मजाक के तौर पे कहूँ तो अभी ये चल रहा था हमारे देश में कि राष्ट्रपति सबसे ऊपर है, फिर उपराष्ट्रपति है, और फिर प्रधानमंत्री है। लेकिन प्रैक्टिकल में तो उल्टा ही होता है ना, कि जो कुछ होना है नीचे से ऊपर होगा। तो ऐसे ही है, राजनीति से ही सब परिभाषित होता है, यद्यपि धर्म और अध्यात्म इसके ऊपर है। तो कभी भी वो अलग नहीं किया जा सकता है। इसलिए राजनीतिक स्वतंत्रता ने जो अध्यात्म का तत्व था वो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण रहा, और वो सब लोगों में दिखा। जो उस समय का नेतृत्व था, अरविंदो तो बिल्कुल अध्यात्म में चले ही गए जब उन्हें स्पष्ट अनुभूति हो गई कि स्वातंत्र तो आना ही आना है, और गहरी आगे की तैयारी करनी चाहिए कि आगे विश्व को कहाँ ले जाना है, जगत की चेतना कहाँ ले जानी है। तो वो अपने दूसरे काम में लग गए। ऐसा नहीं है कि वो स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन से भाग के गए। जो उन्हें जेल में अनुभूति हुई उसके बाद से उनका जीवन बदला कि अब हमें केवल भारत को ही नहीं बल्कि पूरे संसार को उस कंडीशनिंग से मुक्ति दिलानी है। तो वो उधर चले गए। लेकिन उसके लिए स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन तो एक महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है ही, क्योंकि अगर वो, जिसको हम कहते हैं कि एक हमें मास चाहिए, क्रिटिकल मास, तो उसकी सबसे ज्यादा संभावना आज भी भारतीय मन में ही है। भले वो देश में रह रहे हैं और विदेश में, बट भारतीय मन में ही वो संभावना है कि वो अध्यात्म को उसकी पूरी ऊंचाई की जो अनुभूति होती है उस तक पहुंच पाए, और हर एक देश में उसकी राजनीति के अनुसार उसको व्यवहार में उतार पाए।
जी डॉक्टर साहब, आप क्या कहेंगे?
बहुत सुंदर कहा गुरुजी, इसमें मैं पूर्णतया सहमत हूँ। इसमें एक जो ऐतिहासिक रूप से भी भारत ने, यदि आप देखें तो वेदों से, उपनिषदों से, गीता से, भारत का नाम ही है हा रत, जो प्रकाश की ओर अग्रसर हो, जो प्रकाश में पूरी तरह से रत हो, जो प्रकाश को धारण करता हो। तो अपने नाम को पूर्ण करते हुए भारत ने पिछले 5,000 वर्षों में इस प्रकाश या इस मशाल को थामे रखा, और आज तक चाहे कितनी भी हम पतन में पहुंचे, गहराइयों में पहुंचे, वह प्रकाश की एक किरण हमारे साथ सदैव रही है। तो वेद का ज्ञान, उपनिषद का ज्ञान और गीता का ज्ञान, और उसके बाद पूरी एक विभिन्न विभिन्न, जैसे आप कहते हैं लिनिएज, अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं, उसके कितने महान गुरु आए हमारे पास, विभिन्न विभिन्न गुरु, जैसे अद्वैत वेदांत, विशिष्ट वेदांत, द्वैत वेदांत। तो उसके बाद भी भक्ति भाव, भक्ति की पूरी एक श्रृंखला आई, महान भक्ति कवि आए, और कितने ही, श्री रामकृष्ण परमहंस, स्वामी विवेकानंद, रमन महर्षि, निसर्गदत्त महाराज। तो एक एक करके हमारे महान गुरुओं ने उस प्रकाश को, की मशाल को हमारे लिए थामे रखा, ताकि वो पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी हमारे तक पहुंचा सकें। तो आज हम बैठ के कह सकते हैं कि भारत आज भी अपने नाम पर सही उतरा है, उतरता रहेगा, और तभी उतरेगा जब हम आगे इस प्रकाश को लेकर चलेंगे। तो उसके लिए परम आवश्यक है कि हम समझें कि भारत की मुक्ति का अर्थ क्या है। भारत की मुक्ति का अर्थ है कि भारत के जो धर्म है वह पूरा हो, और वह तभी पूरा होगा जब हम प्रत्येक व्यक्ति, प्रत्येक जो भारत से प्रेम करता है, भारत का प्रेमी है, वो उस भारत के धर्म को पूरा करने का संकल्प करे और उसी प्रकाश को आगे बढ़ाए।
बिल्कुल, बहुत बहुत सही कहा। और गुरुजी, आपने एक बात कही जो मुझे लगता है बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है, वो ये कि आप दुनिया भर की इतिहास को अगर हम छान के देखें तो भारत एक ही देश है जहाँ उसका सिर्फ सार्वजनिक जीवन नहीं, बल्कि ये पूरा जो आंदोलन चला स्वतंत्रता का, उसकी परिभाषा मूलतः आध्यात्मिक है।
जी
यहाँ तक कि ये शब्द भी स्वतंत्र, ये कश्मीर शैविज्म से आता है, जहाँ पे शिव को स्वतंत्र कहलाते हैं, जो सबसे ऊंचा तत्व है वो स्वतंत्र है। तो इसी तरह, in other words, to say it in English, the entire vocabulary of our freedom struggle was derived from the spiritual basis of this civilization. And this is what distinguishes the Indian freedom struggle, in my mind, from the revolutionary or non-revolutionary, the civil or other struggles in other parts of the world. Now, I want to also link it up to a couple of other points that have come up. जैसे हम 1909 की बात करते हैं, जब श्री अरविंद जेल से रिहा होते हैं, So he mentions two people who are a part of this triumvirate, जिसको गरम दल कहा जाता था. So बाल, पाल और लाल कहते थे. So बाल गंगाधर तिलक तो मैंडले में थे, जेल में थे. ब्रिटिशों ने उनको वहां पे भेज दिया था, कारावाह में उनको भेज दिया था वहां पे. And Bipin Chandra Pal was in detention also, he was in jail. And Sri Aurobindo was also in jail and he came out. And Gandhiji came in 1915, as we know. But I think what Guruji and both of you were trying to say is that the impulse for India's freedom came from a much deeper source. So my next question is this. You both have spoken about, first, India's responsibility to uphold this torch or this beacon of spiritual wisdom. And also, you have said, Dr. Singh, how each of us who is an Indian or who loves India must embody that spirit. And in other words, being Indian, both as a nation and as individuals, in fact, imposes upon us a responsibility. So, Guruji, I want to link that up with today's topic, Sanatana Dharma and India's independence. What is India's responsibility today? हमारा उत्तरदायित्व क्या है देश के लेवल पे, बतौर देश और बतौर व्यक्ति?
गुरुजी को सुनाई दे रहा है?
Yes. I hope I am still audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. आ रहा है, आपकी आवाज आ रही है.
Okay. Okay. So very well you have said, because as it is known that the cost which we pay for freedom is constant vigil. We have to be vigilant, attaining freedom at what cost we attained at that time, but keeping freedom kicking alive, protecting it and get protected by it. It is equal to dharma, as we say, no? Ki dharmo rakshati rakshita. If we are protect our freedom, then only we will be protected by it. There is a very thin line. What is happening in the contemporary time? That people have forgotten, even world leaders are flip-flopping on character. They are thinking that only trade matters. What will you do by trade? You will earn some prosperity, but will you be in a position to protect that prosperity if it is limited to only trade? No, you have to be powerful. So power must be in the hands of person who is characterful. The nation which gives character the prime value. As the Western dictum we have been listening, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. While in East we say कि केवल चरित्रवान का ही वर्ण शक्ति करती है. Mahashakti chooses only to the one who are full of character, who have a noble character. So there is a difference in the vision. And as the words tell, only after Purv comes the Paschim. So the vision clarity has to be there. We are not imposing anything. Our challenge today is to be powerful in terms of AI, yet stay in control of AI, make it serve for us. Don't let it become our masters, but we must be superior in that tech. Today's defense tech needs to be such that we can hold on to every power, not to browbeat somebody, but to protect ourselves.
In other words, Guruji,
So,
yes, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was only saying that you have said that in order, let us say, if India aspires to be Vishwaguru, first should build that character, both national character and individual character, without which no, we will not be able to earn or command that respect in the world. And it is not only through trade or tariff or military power. But don't you think, Guruji, that today the emphasis on character is declining. If you look around, even on a day as precious as today, Independence Day, we will see, so many VIP movements, so many, I would call them events and showcasing the important and powerful people. But hardly anybody talks about leading by example when it comes to character.
The good things happen very subtly also. There is awareness in the masses, which is unmistaken. Now, how to process that and put through practice, that is challenge who have attained some kind of place in the society, and what values they uphold, it will depend on their style of functioning. So yes, because we are in the, you see, a kind of changing scenario. The transformation is happening. There is so much power. We are 140 crore people. We have so many ways, and we love diversity. We don't cow down anyone. We said, let the thousand flowers bloom. So everybody is trying to figure out how to uphold that what we have got, this much strength, and how to process it in such a way that we stand out. So such things which are visible, sometimes media portrays certain things which are not that conspicuous, and now neither they are that important. Because the role of the media, having come from the media, the role of the media is always to point towards negative mostly, that this should not happen. That is their intention. But to say something that this should not happen, that this is to be named, and that becomes news. So it appears as if everything is going haywire. Not the case. Nonetheless, like Dr. Saab is now into both things. We have living example in both of you. One is from education, another is in health and education both. So where is the thing? It begins with education. If we take a call that how to provide best education, proportionate education, and good health, this much security if the country gets, middle class, believe me, they will turn towards the best values. Because middle class moves very slowly. Like the Gandhi could read India well. Despite all, he read India well. That is why we remember him today, among various other stalwarts. How to connect to the people, though you could draw a very feeble radius, but it was the circumference was all encompassing. So subtle things move very gradually. So I don't see anything which deters me from hoping for the best. Things are changing. People are waking up. Now, so many startups are there in India which are working in the defense. There are so many youngsters coming, and what was my vision that the education's priority should be always research, that you have something, because anything which comes to fore is through research only. So if you have see best of the research, definitely you will produce the services and products which you can, when trade comes, you can negotiate. Like China is negotiating with US. If you have, they say, if you have chip, then we have rare earth metals. Come, let us discuss. So anywhere, wherever something give and take is there, like we have best of brains. Dr. Saab and you are sitting examples. America, are not they using our brains in some way?
Totally,
So,
totally.
and we have so
I
many
would even
other
say
things.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Uh,
Guruji mentioned something very interesting, which is that
uh,
we had this whole idea of Sanatana Dharma and independence of India, and now you've brought in education and health. So I want Dr. Singh to talk about these two areas and how both, see, because he can easily tell us that the entire healthcare system in the US is going through a crisis. it is just falling apart. The prices are so high. So we have an opportunity here. And similarly, education, so can you connect health and education to both India's independence and to Sanatana Dharma?
Yes. Dr. Saab, all right.
Both of you.
Yeah.
I'll ask him first,
Yeah.
but you can tell us. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There are lessons we can take from the US, things we should not do in healthcare and education. As of course, our education system, we let go of our inner genius and we copied a system that is not ours. And then in healthcare also, we are letting go of our own swasthya, our own arogya, our own wellness health, which is called. And we have gone to a disease-based health system, which is a big mistake. And unfortunately, over the last 150, 200 years, we have taken that as the standard of care. Healthcare should be Western. Education should be Western. That if we truly become swatantra, then we have to follow our swadharma. This was the great insight of Sri Aurobindo. Swatantrita without swadharma has no meaning, which is why his vision is so appropriate today. And he said that. So he said, okay, India is going to become free. I know this. I have an inner. In 1907, he said it. What is she going to do with her freedom? That is what I'm more concerned with. And without discovering our swadharma, without living it, whether it's in the adhyatmik anukrama or the vyavaharik anukrama, if we do not live it, and the best two fields in the vyavaharik anukrama, practical order of things, are these two, healthcare and education, in which India's genius has been forgotten. And it is hopefully the next 10, 15 years, our leaders will awaken and we ourselves will bring that forward and somehow turn the tide. Because without the true swadharma, living our own swadharma, our own genius in health and education, our freedom will not be complete.
Yes, Guruji, before I
Yeah.
hand it over to you again, I think this is in some ways the cornerstone of what Guruji has been teaching in Sahajsmritiyog, because he says that Sanatana Dharma, its continuity can only be ensured through the Guru Shishya Parampara. And what he's saying is that our idea of the Gurukul was that there would be a guru and there'd be thousands of disciples. But Guruji is of the view that every home, which is every kula, should have a guru. So every home should have an enlightened person in it, because that person can be the point of reference and can be someone who guides and helps everybody in that family. So Guruji, can you again sort of come back to this idea of education through the Guru Shishya Parampara, which was the Indian the Indian tradition or the Indian methodology of education. And also, you brought in health, because I was just reading today that there is a diabetes epidemic in India. And, it's alarming. And people are getting, of course, living longer. But there's a big difference between the elderly, the welderly, and the elderly. So I'm afraid that we are going to have more elderly than elderly and more elderly than welderly. But we want the reverse to be true. We want welderly people. Because if you just prolong life without that life being meaningful, illuminating, and actually being able to contribute to others, because after a while, what is it that we want for ourselves? Hardly anything, right? So, Guruji, please, can you tell us a little more about
Yes.
your own darshana,
Sure.
this context?
Yes. So whenever we go into wilderness, we can come back to order of priorities. So we see as a human being, what do we really want? So first thing we say swasth. And it is not just a coincidence that swa plus ist, that means yourself is settled. So our health and our adhyat, they are not disconnected. They are one and same only. So we say swasth is, if your swa is sthir, that's what Krishna is saying. What Shri Aurobindo said. Before that, Krishna is clearly saying, swadhanam nidhanam swadhanam paramo bhayavaya. So coming continuously from there. It is has been flowing, only articulation and narration is new all the time. So when we have to connect it with health and education in contemporary time, then we have to articulate it clearly that there are two parts in it. One is the subjects which are worldly matters, which we call shiksha, education. And there is another part which is about our spiritual progress, spiritual realization, which we call diksha.
or Vidya.
So there comes the guru-disciple relationship. First part is upadhyay, adhyapak, all that. Those are subject teachers. We call them apara vidyas, which are very necessary for living our life, carrying through life. But what is our ultimate goal? Ultimate goal is to attain moksha. That means being always in peace while we are living here and now. Our accumulating body has happened very many times. That is what we call punarjan. But we know ourselves when once we are in a guru disciple relationship, we realize that we are eternal beings. So there we are settled. Now, once you are settled, you are carefree, then who can even shake you from your character? Because you have no weakness. So that is our Bharatiya Shiksha Paddhati, Bharatiya Gurukul Parampara. That every individual we make living liberated first. Then we say now you can work for the Loka. That is where Lok Sangrah comes. So ours has been like this. What is happening in Western education? They say it is no, they have mixed both. Both means Aparavidya and Paravidya. So confusion has erupted. So our education, Bharatiya education, has to set the order right. That Paravidya is for you to become happy, healthy, contented, liberated here and now. And then you, as a healthy person, and as a strong person, you work for the welfare of all. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, for Vasudha Kutumbakam. Everything will come in order. First, you, as an individual, you become complete, then that spreads in your family, then your country, then the world. This is the order. So, without health, we can't do anything, even if we have best of, intention. So, but health is difficult to understand. Certain diseases set in, that is different. But swasth is something entirely different thing. That you are stationed in yourself. That is swasth. So that we have to bring back to the mainstream. Because despite, as Dr. Saab is saying, what has happened to the Western education and medication, that they have focused on disease. We have focused on health. So if you are focusing on something, that is likely to flourish. If you are focusing on disease, then disease will flourish. If you focus on health, then health will flourish. So ours is arogya, ours is swastha parampara, and that comes through realization. That once you realize that integral being, as we say, joy joy pinde, soi brahmande. It is not a dictum, or it is not something, intellectual hogwash. It is realization here and now. So if we put that in perspective, then we can move. We can tell the whole world. But first, we have to set the example. And the weaknesses which we are seeing worldwide in Western medication, and whatever their good things are, I am not saying that something, suppose some accident has happened. Immediately you need a hospital, you need to do surgery. That you take into account. But total health, how to look at life, that Sanatan Dharma has kept sacred since times unknown. It has been there, and our seers and saints has kept that alive and had spread that to families. So in so many families, traditions how to keep health are visible. Some are doing specializing in food, others are specializing in some herbs. So these things have not totally got lost. The point is that we have to bring them back together and value them, put them in integrated medication, and then give them value, and then it will be back on its foot. So that will see help whole world, not ourselves, because अभी दृष्टि का संकट है. So people are fighting because their self interests are limited. Once they come to know through our narrative, through our grand narrative, that here we are not playing big brotherly role. We are opening yourselves to you, that look, this is how you are. You are capable of being peaceful, happy, and healthy just by doing certain exercise, eating right, thinking right. And then whenever some emergency hits you, so Western magic medication you can take. So that dope telling alone gradually transform back to happiness. Because otherwise, other things we are not, we can't overlook for long, like what is happening due to, you see, environmental issues. Recently, only what has happened in our own country. Nature is, how can you, if you keep digging earth from everywhere, it will collapse. So you have to give nature its place, everything its place rightly, consume as much as needed, not beyond that. So we have to come back to the natural way of living, and then we will be happy and thinking high, enjoying ourselves. What else you are looking for in the world? You want to be happy, healthy, and taking care of everyone, and keep doing research. So ours has always been, whenever I address myself, I say मैं शोधार्थी हूँ. If somebody asks my identity, I say I am a शोधार्थी. I have spoken that at a number of fora. Don't give me any other identity. So this is how we are. We are always what is in contemporary term, how to contemporize the eternal. So first, if it goes wrong, then it becomes difficult. Like it happened when Buddha tried to define the Sanatana. It is stuck somewhere, and people just gone other way. They thought we need not do anything, just bag a little and sit and meditate. No, this is not the way. You have to take care of the whole world. So that continuous narrativization, continuous commentary on eternal element is needed through life. And then we can put the health and the mind and everything in perspective. So education in a Gurukul was based on qualification. And teachers used to decide, forget about Guru for a second, teachers used to decide that this student has come to me, it is my responsibility to make him educated. It is not like what is happening today, that money they have put in the front, that you pay a high fee and you go to this higher education, then only it is working. So they have put the horse before the cart before the horse. So that should not be the case.
Yes, Guruji. I think we have
Yeah.
crossed the 45-minute mark, so we will invite questions, but I'll just sum up. I think that Guruji has shown us the difference between the labharthi and the shodharthi. And what I'm really getting from our conversation so far is that in India, we have always sought liberation or moksha, but spiritual liberation, adhyatmic moksha, is not possible without being free politically, economically, culturally, civilizationally. And for that, we have to practice our own swadharma. Only then we will be able to flourish rather than imitating and copying other people. And I think both Dr. Singh as well as Guruji have said that the way forward is by becoming an example. So we cannot talk about all our higher aspirations without embodying them ourselves. So we begin with ourselves and find that freedom, that joy, that peace, that happiness in a life of harmony within ourselves. We embody it, and from inside, we go outward. And only when India becomes, through all of us individuals, an example of this light, only then will it be truly living up to its name, which is Bharata. With these words, I invite questions for either Guruji or Dr. Singh. So do we have any questions, Shashankji and Raghavanji?
Thanks, Makarand. Thanks, Guruji and Dr. Saab. Yes, we have received many questions on YouTube. Guruji, the first question is to you. What are the biggest inner prisons we create for ourselves?
First is lack of self-confidence. Your confidence should be supreme because your knowledge is supreme. It has never been second rate. So this is one prison. Another is looking for accolades from outside. You need not. You do what you feel is worth doing. It will come, what has to come. Third is insecurities. That what will happen after? No, nothing will happen. World will look the way you are looking because you are selfless. So anything, all the great values are driven from your own self. Treasure is within you. So presence you create when you create self-doubt. Never doubt yourself. Always follow your heart. This is the one self. These are few things. I think there are so many, but you said first few first, and these are the ones.
Thank you, Guruji. The next question is to both the academicians here. Can unlearning be as important as learning for inner freedom? Dr. Singh? Anyone?
Unlearning is probably the most important thing for learning, especially in our context, where we have been, as Guruji said, lack of confidence. So it has been subconsciously put in us that we have to seek knowledge from outside. Our whole education system is based on learning from outside. And Swami Vivekananda said something beautiful. If we teach our children how to learn to do dhyana, then that's all we need. There's nothing else that is needed. We have to have the Atma Vishwas. And Atma Vishwas is such a beautiful word because Atma Vishwas comes from Atma. For that, you have to be looking to the Atma. You have to be learning. We have to learn to look inside. There's so much knowledge, so much wisdom there. The wisdom that we are, the knowledge that we are is already in us. And that is the biggest limitation of modern education is it looks elsewhere. It's like that, what is that musk deer who looks for the musk all its life and doesn't realize the musk is right in its navel. And same thing we're doing in healthcare. We are looking for a cure outside. We do not trust our own bodies. We do not trust our own prana. We do not know how to treat ourselves in a quiet way. We do not turn to ourselves. So true swasthya will come when we turn towards swasti, right? Turn towards the self. And I hope that answers the question somewhat, but that would be my approach.
Yeah, I will just add, it's interesting how Ivan Illich, he wrote a book called Deschooling Society. So he, in fact, made this an educational program and pedagogy, unlearning,
Yes.
how important it was on a mass scale. But I think since we are talking about the self and we are talking about our own inner prisons, which can also be prisms, because
Yes.
everything gets refracted in the way in which we distort our understanding. I think the biggest unlearning that we need to do is to get out of our conditioning, which is really our prison,
Yes.
We have so limited ourselves because reality is infinite and it is always changing. So truth can never be fixed nor can it be of the past, whatever and however great our past is. And only when we free ourselves and can relate to reality as it evolves and changes from moment to moment, can we free ourselves from our own inner prisons or the prisons of our own making, which are also prisons of language. Guruji always
right.
says that
Language is
the moment we are free of the
Yes.
limitation of language, he says that then we will be able to access Shruti,
Yes,
the flow of wisdom which is eternal.
yes. Shri J. Krishnamurti was big on unlearning. In fact, his whole
Deconditioning was-
deconditioning the past are all our preferences, the way we see the world.
Because it blocks understanding.
Yes,
That's
that's
where he
right.
was saying.
Thank you, Parikshit ji. Thank you, Makarand ji. We have many more questions, but we are short of time. The last question will be to Guruji. Guruji, how does surrender to the divine relate to real freedom?
We have to begin from the beginning. We say, Eko Ham Bahushyama. There is only one. He only became many in our forms. So if we realize that who is one, then how else it is possible without surrendering to that? Since we do not know that, that is unknown. We call it unknown. But there is a person called Guru whom we say unknown, because partly we know him, partly we don't know him. Who he is, how he is, he only can tell. So this has been traditionally been coming through realization, like Krishna is telling to Arjun, that only through my part all this is manifested, including you. Pandava Nam Dhananjaya. It is me. Muni Nam Aham Vyasho, Pandava Nam Dhananjaya. The Vyas who has written this all is going to write this all Mahabharata and my Gita. He is also part of me and you are also me. But what I am or who I am, how am I am, that is not possible for you to see. So I am giving you a glimpse into my this Brahad Roop, which is giving that 11th chapter. He describes that how he is. So this way, indication comes there that if you want to realize the whole, then it is possible only through the surrender. Isn't it visible through wisdom that we all are surrounded despite leaving, see, our Voyager and everything, is still we are fathoming the unknown. Krishna Vivir and everything is still we are not there. So always we are finding, more we find, more the glory of unknown becomes known to us. So it is only through surrender, but yatha vidhi yatha kram. There is a way to realize. Otherwise, we will be lost in the vast cosmos, in this, you see, existence made of multiverses. So there is a way. So if we go only right way, surrendering, then only it is a possibility that will align with us and that realization will keep dawning upon us. There is no other way. You think through intelligently, intellectually, and wisdom wise, you realize you will come to the same conclusion. So it is only through the surrender, because it is writ large in our face, writ large in our wisdom, that you anyway, if you are not surrendering, it is your small ego. Ultimately, you are a small nothing in this big thing. But if you become one with it, then like the wave of the ocean is ocean, drop of the ocean is ocean, you realize the full. You realize all the dimensions of, you see, existence through your consciousness, because ekoham bahushyama. I am the only one who have become many. How else it can be told?
Thank you, Guruji. I think you have reminded us that the paradox of freedom is that only by surrendering do you arrive at freedom.
Mukti Moola Adhinata.
And as Sri Krishna said, ultimately,
Yeah.
Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. And Guruji has
Yeah.
explained that by saying that you're only surrendering
Yes.
small, limited, self which is in fact non-existent. So you're not even surrendering that to get the entirety, to get the infinity, to get that which is your birthright, to get that which you really are, which is your true self, which is swa-astha, which is swasthi, as well as swa-asthya and swasthya. With those words, thank you, Guruji. Thank you, Dr. Singh. And we wish everybody a very happy and prosperous, as well as
Swastha.
yeah, I would say expansive Independence Day.
Thank you. Wish you happy Independence Day. And thank you for being there in this Upanishad so that the world benefits. I enjoyed thoroughly. Thank you. Harihi Om Tasha.
Thank you, Guruji.